all the time.
You always do that.
I do.
That's right.
I heard TJ Neal's been addressing the team a little bit lately. Just tell me, like, he talked to the team about something. I guess he's vocal now.
Yeah, I think the more and more that these kids grow up. I mean, we've got still a young football team that hasn't been involved in, a lot of football games. So, TJ's been, very speaking because he has had a great spring ball.
Anybody else stepping up as leadership?
I think our seniors have done a pretty good job. I really do. I think Alex Hill's done a phenomenal job of standing up and telling his team what he thinks. I think Donovan Young's done a great job, too. I mean, he has stood up and mentioned things that he wants to get accomplished. These seniors are hungry, and it's always good to see.
Were you surprised about Donovan kind of stepping up in that?
No, not really, because he's always been, no, he wasn't happy with his season last year, but instead of pouting about it, he's jumped forward and said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And he's had a good spring. There's no question about it.
Coach, can you talk about Richard coming back for the weekend, what that means?
I can't wait. I was able to meet Richard back in May, and I went down to the Arizona Cardinals and saw him practicing there. So I walked up to him, introduced myself, and went through and talked with him and told him anytime that we could get him back, we'd love to have him back. Of course, I think with Juice coming back on staff, I think that's helped. But we're very, very excited to have all of the guys back. And David Deal will be down in a couple weeks, and we'll be able to see him too.
What do you want to get out of this with a split squad? I mean, what can you take from it?
I think you can take quite a bit from it. There's a lot of teams that just play ones against the rest, and I think first of all you get to see different players playing with different people. And I mentioned that earlier in the press conference, but I think that's very important. You get to see how good can that number one make that number two. How good can a quarterback be when he might not be actually playing with the number one wide receivers? How good communication-wise can that Mike linebacker that's running with the ones be with that nose guard that's up in front of him? I think all that stuff's very important when you're trying to build a football team.
Seems like the orange went a lot of skill players and the blue went a lot of defensive.
I'll tell you, it was, again, sitting in there, we as a staff don't say a word. And then they select the head coaches. And I only let the head coaches, which happen to be Coach Kolish and Coach Ward, sit with their guys. Everybody else sits back and just watches. And it's just like our draft that we have in January when you're talking about accountability and trust when you're drafting players. It's interesting to stand there and watch them and as they talk about, okay, I want to take this guy and I want to take this guy and what they're thinking. So it's interesting, and it kind of puts a light on it as a coach too.
What do you think it says about them taking Wes first?
I think that they believe that Wes has had a good spring. I think that was first. The big question was, should they have? It was really between two guys. Was it Ferg or was it Westland? And they decided to go with Wes, and I think that says that this football team thinks that Wes had a pretty good spring.
So Ferguson went too.
Yeah, he was too. Young was sitting there. They lost the toss. Young's team lost the toss, and they blamed Kajus because he didn't call the right tails or whatever. And so Riley's team got to choose, and Riley's team chose Wes.
I know a lot's been talked about this spring about the quarterback battle, and I talked to Aaron tonight, and he said it doesn't really faze them a whole lot because they're all competing for the same job. They're all friends off the field. So
I agree. I mean, you've got three outstanding kids, and Chase Crouch too, and Manberg. I mean, they're all in that meeting room. They're all good people.
It's a little disappointing not to have Smoot for Saturday.
Yeah, of course, I'd like DJ to play as much as he can. I think DJ has really stepped up his game. He's put on good weight, and he's gained about 30 pounds, and he's had a good spring. Of course, you want to keep your kids healthy, but we're not going to risk anything with the elbow. I don't think but we're not going to risk him having a permanent. Well, I really did it about 2 weeks ago, and right before break, and then it went. Then we had break, And then he came back, and it bothered him again. So we decided that, hey, let's put you on the shelf here the rest of the spring.
Is he what you're looking for in a Leo? Does he have kind of?
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's put the weight on. I
Right.
think that's the first thing. I think nothing taken from DeJazz, because DeJazz has had a good spring too. But Schmoot's got a little bit more size, and he's got a little bit more burst off the edge. I think with he and Kenny Nelson, because Kenny Nelson's had a good spring. You add Paul James into that mix, and we've got Jihad Ward, and you've got a young man named Carroll Phillips. I mean, we're trying to get those taller speed guys off the edge so we can create some more pass rush.
Coach, how do you get an athlete like Aaron involved in the offense if he doesn't end up being the starting quarterback?
Well, it's Aaron Bailey is an exceptional athlete. There's no question about it. He's an exceptional quarterback too, or he wouldn't be here. I think they'll continue to compete, and Aaron Bailey knows that he can help this football team, like he did help us early in the football season this last year. So if there's a role that we all have to play in the game of football, there'll be a role that he'll have to play to help us win.
With heights, is it just his hand?
Yeah, he had in the SHG scrimmage, he shattered a couple, really his thumb.
Okay.
And they felt that to go in there and have surgery with it, put it in a cast, it'll be about 6 weeks, but he'll be able to do everything. So again, it was something that.
Not too worried about him since he's
Just get it done.
Nice.
Just get it done.
Just get it done now. Yeah.
Was it good? You guys have been working Spencer then, in that case, right? So you could kind of make
Joe,
the
yeah,
adjustment.
Joe. I think Joe Spencer. If you talk about offensive line guys that have really shown themselves this spring, Joe Spencer would be the name, because Joe's played sparingly, not like the Alex Hills and the Teddy Karrases and Simon and those. Joe has really jumped his game up. So he's probably that fifth, maybe sixth offensive lineman that you're talking about that had a good spring.
You're looking forward to hearing Tressman talk tomorrow.
I
morning?
can't wait. I mean, an opportunity. I was blessed enough to give him a ring and say, "Hey, Coach, would you mind coming down and speaking?" And he said it's a privilege to him. I mean, that's the type of coach you're talking about that I think will definitely enjoy coming down, and I can't wait to hear him.
Him and Bill going to get together and compare playbooks.
No, I'm sure they will. I'm sure that they'll be talking a little bit to one another, but he's going to be extremely busy. I know he's excited about speaking to the high school coaches. He's one that's started that way too, so it's a great opportunity, and I'm not sure if it's the first time, but it's great to have a head football coach come speak at your high school coach clinic.
New uniforms on Wednesday, or is
Fired up?
the team fired up?
Oh, they're nuts.
Do you get to pick the guys who model the uniforms that'll be part of that?
Yeah, we did. Lacoste, Young, Simon, and Simon. Seniors,
Sure.
of course, that we're going to have do it. And, I'd like to tell the guys, and we're going to try to work this out, that we might get a sneak peek
Oh,
with the guys. Did you guys see what Washington did?
Yes.
oh, the April Fool's
was
joke.
that, was that hilarious?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
words
thinking
on
so
the
hard
butt.
about doing that. Just
Yeah.
show up with the worst looking things ever. Show it to them. But,
Yep.
no, we look forward to it. The kids really do look forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.